Import substitution is implemented in Russia. Soviet-era brands are being revived, including Kama bicycles and Moskvich cars. This year, they plan to produce 3,000 bicycles. It is planned to sell them in Russia and Belarus at the maximum price of 12,700 rubles. It's about $170.
We focus on the category of people who remember these bikes, who know Kama, for whom the Kama bike is not just a bike, these are their childhood memories, and so on.
Renault cars were assembled at this production a year ago. Since November 2022, the updated Moskvich has been produced here, also within the framework of the program of import substitution and revival of brands.
Are we nostalgic? Yes, the grass was greener, the water was wetter, the ice cream was tastier. But are we willing to pay for it? No, not ready.
They are not ready to pay, also because everyday monetary abilities of Russians are declining. According to the Automobile Manufacturers Committee of the Association of European Business, sales of new passenger cars in Russia in 2022 fell by 60% compared to 2021. Since the end of 2022, the largest retail chains in Russia began to feel a decrease in purchasing power. The Russians switched to saving mode, with a partial reduction of unnecessary spending on entertainment, taxes, and so on. On February 15th, the European Commission officially proposed for the approval of the member states the 10th package of sanctions against Russia in connection with the aggressive war against Ukraine.
Together, we are tightening the screws on Russia's more and more. I call on the member states to adopt this new package of sanctions swiftly. Our aim is to have, together with our G7 partners, further significant sanctions in place by February 24th, exactly 1 year after Putin launched its imperial war.
On the same day, the euro exchange rate on the Moscow exchange for the first time since April 25, 2022 exceeded 80 rubles. Since the 10th package of sanctions provides for export bans worth more than 11 billion euros to deprive the Russian economy of critical technologies and industrial goods. For Russians, this means further growth of the dollar. By the end of this year, it can cost 100 rubles.
All the ruble assets are losing their value. There will be an exchange course of 95. All your ruble assets will fall in price by 20%. Plus, the rate is the loss of the economy. The rate is followed by inflation. This means that inflation will accelerate.
In the Ministry of Finance of Russia, inflation for 2023 is predicted at the level of 4%. In fact, this figure will be from 4 to 5 times higher.
This means that you can buy 18% less goods and services with your salary. This is poverty. Therefore, good advice is to hedge these exchange rate risks, inflation risks in dollar and euro assets. That is, throw them somewhere abroad, or go abroad yourself, or keep them somewhere at home.
The Kremlin can no longer cope with the consequences of sanctions and the crisis that is growing in the Russian economy. It was possible to artificially restrain the dollar exchange rate in Russia in 2022 in manual mode, but now experts do not see any economic preconditions for strengthening the ruble.
When there is not enough money in the budget to meet basic needs, they will be printed, and that is exactly what I had in mind when I spoke about inflationary processes. They can lead to more than just inflation, but hyperinflation. When the central bank will increase the financing rate, not just 20, 30, it will be 500, 1,000%. When the banking system begins to crack, it will not be able to raise funds to replenish its working capital.
In such situation, prices for everything in Russia, including the most necessary goods and products, will continue to rise. Any purchasing power, on the contrary, declines. Reported by Pavel Stelmach, Natalia Husak, UATV News.